DCeased, War of the Undead Gods, issue 8, Tom Taylor, writing with Trevor Hairsine and Lucas Meyer on the art, which is the same backup artist or secondary artist as the last issue as well. So this is the conclusion to all of DCeased, seemingly, and features Damien sacrificing himself to stop the virus from ever coming back, which they did a neat thing here where it tied into something Green Arrow said way back in the first DCeased about how Batman can't be taken out with the virus. Batman's going to like sacrifice himself to take out some god or something, and sure enough, Damien goes out that way. By
Batman. Does he specifically say you're not going to be taken out by a virus? You're the type that's going to...
No, he says Batman.
He says Batman?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it still fits here because now Damien's Batman.
It's
all Batman.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, basically he takes the life equation from Cyborg's head and collides that with Erebus.
Erebus.
I keep wanting to say
Erebus.
I keep wanting to say Ouroboros, but it's not Ouroboros.
Erebus. It's the name of one of the ships from the Terror.
Oh, very good.
Well, I just thought that might be a way for you to remember it. It's a bit late now, but
I don't know. It's so close to Ouroboros. So that's all I want to say. But basically, this will create a new universe because the collision of these two ideas is just going to go a big bang, effectively. So a lot of this is the John saying goodbye and the conflict. He obviously has a goodbye moment with Cass. We don't really know yet that he's going to sacrifice himself, but I kind of got that feeling. It just felt like it was going that way.
From the moment where she's like, you're not letting me in. Can't trust you to tell me what's going on.
Yeah. And of course, Alfred as the Spectre also sort of like commiserating. Like I've enjoyed this. War of the Undead Gods a reasonable amount. It's probably been the weakest of the minis out of all DCeased, just because at this point it's a little bit older. It feels like it's doing some interesting ideas, but the emotion is not quite as there. I do think there was a couple of beats in this final issue that felt like it was there again, just a little bit. Like I thought that final page where Alfred Spectre like visits this new universe that was created, and he sees like the shape of the bat symbol and like the stars. I was
and
like,
Cosmos.
I was like, okay, that's kind of sweet. It was a nice touch to that.
Well, and it's his narration, right? He says, "My bats, my sons, my whole universe." Yeah, that's there. Also, John sitting next to Damien, and he goes, "You can't save me." And John's like, "Yeah, I get that. I just thought I'd sit here so you're not alone." Oh my God, their friendship. Like,
yeah.
So...
I think that was the thing. Like, the ideas in this many have been so big and broad, and like every issue has ended with a big, huge like, oh, now Darkseid's a Yellow Lantern. I think almost like the actual character stuff maybe get lost a little bit in the shuffle in this many. Arguably, it should have even been a couple issues longer to like fit more of that in and flesh some of those more personal side things out. But I did feel some of it was here in this final issue again. It kind of was like, oh yeah, this has always been here. Taylor obviously knows what he's doing. I wonder if this was just I think I saw him tweet about how he had tons of like pages that he wrote that never made it in, like more character stuff.
Someone was like, someone tried to call him out for not including Talia and someone else. Then he goes, yeah, I know.
How much can you actually get in there?
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, I know. I had an intention, but I had to go with what the main story was, not the side story. So.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's the sort of thing where maybe if it had been like a 12-issue series to send it off and they had more time to do that stuff. But, I mean, as it is, the big beats play fairly well. But
definitely.
It's, it's got a sweet ending that kind of caps everything up. And I also think as well, the way it was spread out over time. I think if you probably read all of DCeased in like an omnibus down the line, I think it will probably...
Which they will definitely publish.
Oh, I assume they will, yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it'll probably be a very good read. And there's some fun action stuff. They have to rip a hole in like space-time to bring Warworld through.
Yeah, and they technically have to die for a minute. And,
So Cyborg stops all their hearts so they can travel through the Doom Tube. But they also have to... All of the people with like laser powers or whatever all have to make this open in Erebus, and then Lobo like slices it and makes it a bigger They keep talking again. What's the word with the use of the word crack in these comics? They keep talking about.
You know what I think it was? I think that Tom Taylor had read the Infinite Justice League Infinite.
Infinite Frontier, yes.
Yeah, and that or wasn't Darkseid's crack in the Justice League Incarnate, because that was the prelude to everything.
It was one. Yeah, it was part of that whole thing. I don't remember which one it was. Come on now.
I think he read that and went, "This is a funny joke. I'm going to use it now." So
quite possibly is what happened. Yeah,
especially since the way it comes up is like, "Oh, we're going to have to make a crack to fit in Warworld," and then someone else says, "That's a pretty big crack."
Yeah.
Hey, it was a pretty big crack.
Yes, it was a huge crack.
Well, I like how the Black Racer has to, I think it's him and Lobo have to basically insult Ares' manhood enough to make him go to take on Erebos.
Yeah, because Ares and the Black Racer are the ones that kind of distract Erebus, whilst the others
Ares gets decapitated.
Yeah, because war. Well, and I like that too. That's another big story plot point. Is it, death always follows war. So I'm gonna follow you here. We go hand in hand, and it's the old god with the new god. A lot of balance, playing out. So
it's a really solid ending, and there's nothing to complain about. It's just not. It's not like the most exciting book at this point.
No,
I mean it's still gonna be. We say this every time we talk about this book. It's still not gonna beat the Tree Lobsters.
No, it's got no chance
with all of that. Emotion and ties to all that. So.
Yeah, I did think the callback to the Green Arrow line from that first arc was very well done, and
yes,
it's the sort of thing where like a lot of the other families of characters have got a second chance now because a lot of them have come back and they're kind of happy families, but the bats all did die, like all of the bats went. So this kind of like symbol of like this new universe got created out of the Batman and the Bat family was kind of a touching moment.
Yeah.
It worked quite well. I thought the ending was kind of a nice poignant little touch. But it probably is a good time to move on now. And he's got obviously the Titans book alongside Nightwing now, so Taylor's going to have his hands busy with some proper ongoing comics.
Yeah, I think he does these in cycles where he does his little side jaunts, and he goes and writes the main continuity stuff, and then maybe we'll get to another side jaunt. Once this Titan stuff gets enough.
Obviously, he's finishing off Dark Knight of Steel. I can see there being more in that universe before anything else starts up.
Yeah,
I think possibly.
Obviously, there's been delays. I suspect probably the art more than anything. It feels like there's a lot in that world to do side things in, just to do like other things in that time period in that world.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, just the entire
there,
the entire story of Black Canary. I want to see that play out in that world.
Yeah.
So what led her to be locked up? So where she started. But yeah, no. So I definitely think we'll have him on Nightwing, him on Titans. Probably for a minute, and then we'll get more, because it's also Superman's winding down too. So I feel like he always has at least 2 or 3 books going. So maybe he'll take a break. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Titans and Nightwing are ongoing, so I mean, if anything, it would just be swapping either one of his Elseworlds for a new book, or maybe the Superman book for a new book.
Right.
But yeah. But no, solid enough ending, and now DCeased is all done. You can go and enjoy it for its complete thing. And I do wonder if you read it all go closer together in one big sitting. Not literally in one sitting, but over a week or something like that. I imagine it'd probably read quite well as one big story now.
Remember when he was
that people will do very soon.
Yeah. So remember when he was teasing this, and we're like, "What is it going to be?" And then how it was pitched was DC Zombies, and at least I was kind of like, "Oh," and it ends up being like this really nice story throughout.
Well, there's a lot of heart in it. He knew how to pull on the strings.
I think it's because when you think zombies in comics, with Big Two, you're thinking of the what was that Marvel one that they did?
Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, but then there's that and the Deadpool one as well, right? That they did more recently.
Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, you end up thinking things like that,
right?
And not all of them are fine, but this actually had some heart to it that the rest of them didn't.
Right.
Kind of made it stand out amongst the crowd of that
for
style
sure.
of story.
But I just remember us being like, "Oh, Tom Taylor has an announcement for a new book."
Anywho, Matt, what are you rating DCeased War of the Undead Gods issue 8?
I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Car?
I'm gonna give it a straight 7, but still like enjoyable.
You sound so happy about it.
No, that's the thing. I sound really negative on this in comparison to previous issues, but I still think it's a good read. It just didn't blow my mind as the ending of the DCeased saga.
I think the heart in this one probably made me like this more than any other issue in this particular miniseries. You know, and more of the Undead Gods. That said, I'm still only going to go 7.5, I think. But, you know, the bits I liked, I really liked.